All right, here we go. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brian Martin with your daily Manchester United news show. So I've got a couple quotes from Jason Wilcox about the club, some news about Harry Kane, and some news about the other Harry Maguire. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let me just close this screen so I can save my bandwidth here. So anyway, let me read these quotes to you from Jason Wilcox. It's a little bit long, so bear with me. He says it has been a roller coaster. I came in last April, around 18 months ago, and it's been a real challenge. I can't lie. I thought the club was in a much better place than it was. We had no football identity. We lacked alignment between ownership, the CEO, football, and the academy. And we've just been working so hard behind the scenes. There's been a lot of work that's gone on to change the staff. I know in the media, there's an awful lot of coverage around the redundancies. But the football club needed to go through a period of transformation without a doubt. Forget the redundancies. The whole structure of Manchester United needed to change. I would have done it from a sporting side. I did the same at Southampton and Man City. Again, these are quotes from Jason Wilcox. It's important we have a leaner workforce that provides accountability and responsibility for people. It's really sad to see these people lose their jobs, but it needed to be done. Now we've got a platform to rebuild. I didn't realize how big this club was, even though I've competed against this club as a player and as a coach. This club is a wonderful club. I just pray we get the opportunity to turn it around. I really feel it's not we will win again. I think it's when will we win again, which is interesting. It's going to take time and it's not a quick fix, especially now with the regulations. We needed to change the playing squad. We've made some really good additions this summer. Sometimes taking players out of the squad is as important as the players you bring in. We have to bring back the culture and respect to Man United. Whether you work for us or play against us, you feel like you're part of something special. I'm extremely proud. I'm extremely privileged, but I'm extremely frustrated as well because we can't fix it quickly enough. So those are some quotes from Jason Wilcox about the state of Manchester United. I thought it was pretty interesting, but also pretty straightforward. Obviously, he didn't reveal too much, but I thought it was interesting that he talked about, the size of the club and just it was bigger than even he thought it was. Um, and then, just having to lean out the workforce, as as he said, the media covered that pretty extensively. And that was pretty awful to see people lose their jobs. You never want to see that happen. But hopefully, this leads to future success and hopefully, those job sacrifices were worth it. Um, I thought it was interesting that he said that, it's not will we win again? I think it's when will we win again? That doesn't instill the most confidence, I'm going to say, in us as the fans and supporters. It seems like we're even further off than initially, I guess stated. Maybe some of us realized that, maybe some of us didn't, but hearing that from, an inside man such as Jason Wilcox, to hear that it sounds like we're even further off than we think. I mean, we might have to buckle up for another decade or so. Um, I hope that's not the case. I hope we can turn it around sooner, as Wilcox has said. But again, it sounds like we are still a ways off from competing regularly again. So anyway, you can check out the rest of those quotes on the Manchester Evening News. Those are just a few of them from the story. Apparently, he was speaking at, I think, Old Trafford to former players. So yeah, again, check that out there when you get a chance. Wanted to jump into Harry Maguire very quickly. So as I mentioned yesterday, Maguire looks set for a contract extension. I think he deserves it. He's professional. He's reliable. I think younger players can look up to him. I think he weathered the storm of his captaincy and that other controversy in Greece that he had. He kept his head down and kept working. And so I think he deserves it. And furthermore, on that point, he got the start against Chelsea. So there are rumors that he's played his way back into Ruben Amorim's starting 11, at the, I guess, sacrifice of Lenny Yoro. Now I'll ask you this right off the bat. Do you agree with that? I mean, as much as I like Maguire, previously, yes, I was on the Maguire, it's not good enough train. But I think he's a reliable backup. I don't know that he's necessarily a starter. So, I thought that was an interesting move for that match. I think those rumors are interesting that he might be taking Euro's place. Again, I know Rio Ferdinand said it on his podcast. You shouldn't be messing with your back line too much. So, in my opinion, for him to do that is a big change to the back line. But you know, if he's training well, then he deserves it, I guess, right? But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Get in the comments, let me know. Now, another Harry Kane. He wants to come back to the Premier League, according to friends and family rumors. His current Bayern deal runs until 2027. However, his release clause can be activated in the summer of 2026. So this coming summer, well, I guess it depends on where you are in the world, right? Because I guess in Australia it's summer now or end of summer. Anyway, wherever you are in the world, so 2026, let's say June, we'll say it that way, right? For 60 million pounds. Now, this was interesting to me. So he hasn't slowed down, and he being Harry Kane hasn't slowed down in terms of scoring goals. He hit some of his highest numbers before he left Tottenham for Bayern in 2023. This season alone, he's played 4 matches. I'm going to read from my notes here. Played 4 matches, scored 8, and assisted 3. I mean, in just what, 4 matches, 8 goals, assisted 3. So 11 goal involvements in 4 matches already. That's insane already, right? Last season at Bayern, he played 31 games, 26 goals, 8 assists. So again, he was involved on average in a goal involvement, more than one goal involvement per game. I guess if you do the math on that, right? So still putting up insane numbers. He's 32, but I mean that doesn't seem to be slowing him down. He's such a smart player. Obviously, he's not the fastest, but he's great on the ball. He's a great finisher, great leader. So, honestly, I would take him in a heartbeat. I would take him in a heartbeat. I think I wish we got him before he went to Bayern. I wish he came to United, but I guess he didn't want to slap Spurs in the face by going from one Premier League side to another. Maybe he felt that loyalty to Spurs since that's where he really, made his name. But I'd take him in a heartbeat. I mean, would you? You let me know. You get in the comments and let me know. Would you take Harry Kane at Manchester United for, let's say, 60 million pounds, right? I would. Now, here's the question, though. Who do you sacrifice for Kane? Um, is it Sheshko? I mean, too new to sell, right? I think he's too new to sell. I think Amram has big plans for Sheshko. Xerxes, maybe. But I feel he has a high ceiling, and I'd hate to let him go to another team and see him absolutely flourish, right? I think we've seen that happen too many times now, so I would hate to let Xerxes go. Um, Maybe we sell Bruno and to Saudi and use that money for Kane and for a midfielder. That would be, to me, ideal. I think Kane would replace Bruno's goals. And then if we get Sheshko and others up to speed, that increases our total number of goals, since obviously Bruno's goals aren't enough to keep us in a competitive position in the league. So, that's what I would do. I would probably sell Bruno to Saudi, use that money to get Kane and a midfielder, right? So that way you kind of you replace Bruno's leadership, you replace his goals. I think you get, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, better leadership. I don't think you get the moaning and the throwing of the arms and the blaming others for bad passes and things that Bruno does, which I don't like. Um, you saw that clip of him going around, even from the sidelines. He was moaning and throwing his arms and not looking like a captain to me, you know. And that's a whole other story. I still think that part of the challenge right now at United is Bruno's attitude, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like I said before, if you've ever played and you played with someone who's good, but they've just got a bad attitude, and especially if they're captain, it makes it harder to work with them. It makes it harder to be your best around them. So anyway, another show. I'll talk about that. But yeah, so that's what I would think, and I mean, I would hope that Saudi would still be offering that 100 million plus for Bruno. I think if that is the money we get, then we could definitely do Kane and midfielder next summer. Um, but speaking of changes and things like that, right? So moving on to Marcus Rashford, so doing all right at Barcelona. I say that, but then it's like I think about his, latest snafu, right? So he had those 2 goals, but then he showed up late to training, right? So then he didn't get to start. So it's kind of like doing all right, I guess I'll say. Um, but right now the problem seems to be that Barcelona just can't cover his wages long term. Right now they are fully covering his wages, but that makes him one of the highest paid players there. Sorry, tongue twister. So they can't afford his wages long term. Hopefully, Rashford has a good season and agrees to a decreased compensation package, because otherwise it's kind of like what do they call it, golden handcuffs kind of thing, where it's like you're getting compensated so well, but if you go anywhere else you're not going to get the same kind of money, something like that. Anyway, I could be butchering that, but you get what I'm saying, right? So that's the challenge when you sign those big contracts, right? It's like if you don't live up to it, you're not getting that money anywhere else, and if you get too comfortable with that money, then good luck to you. So anyway, that's it on Rashford. I'm not going to go too much into that. Kobe Mainu. apparently he's focused and even hired a new chef in an effort to compete for playing time. So apparently Manu's really tightening his belt, literally, so to say. Couldn't resist that one. Sorry. Um, so yeah. So anyway, so we might see more, more of Manu. I still scratch my head. I still don't get why he's not playing as much. Again, I don't think he's a center mid. I think he's a 10. I think we are flush with 10s, if I'm being honest. I mean, we've got Manu, Mount, Bruno, uh, Cunha, and Bumo, Ahmad, Xerxes. Did I miss anyone? I'm sure someone else I probably missed who can play there as a 10 as well, right? So that's what, 7 10s on a team? I mean, and there's only 2 10 positions, right? So that means the other 5 are either getting left out or wedged in somewhere else. Cough, cough, Ahmad at right wing back. So, yeah, I would love to see him get a shot there. I know Casemiro is suspended right now, so that probably means he might get shunted into the midfield. But honestly, and I hate to say it, honestly, what I think is going to happen is I think um, we're going to see Bruno and Ugarte, and Manu's still going to be stuck on the bench, right? He might come in for the last 20 minutes or so if Ugarte or Bruno gets subbed out, or maybe if Mbumo or Cunha, are tired or something, But I still feel like he's going to be languishing on the bench, and I think that is worrying for his future at United. I could see someone trying to turn his head this January, if they aren't already, trying to send people to speak to him on the side off the books. So that's my concern there. But again, like anything, watch this space. Now, there are Jared Branthwaite rumors for the center back. My short answer to that is no. What for? And not for 60 million. Like, no, don't do it. I think every pound needs to go towards a midfielder, unless there's an option to get Harry Kane. Then in that case, I'd like to put it towards him. And spring for someone else in January, maybe like I said, a Gallagher in January, and then that 60 million goes to Kane next summer, something like that, some combination of that. And on the note of midfielders, again, I think Conor Gallagher is our most likely option in January. He seems to be having a bit of a time at Atletico, right? And people will say, oh, why would you want him? He's struggling to get into Atletico Madrid. But I mean, the guy proved himself at Palace. He proved himself at Chelsea, right? So I think he'd come to United and do a job, especially where we are, right? I know we all want these world-class players, but like, just on that note, like, I disagree with this whole notion that our entire starting 11 and bench needs to be all these world-class players, right? Like, no team has that. It doesn't work. Like, just get that out of your head, right? So I would like to see him come in. I think he'd be an improvement on what we have in the midfield. And I think he'd come in, do a job for us, get his playing time, play his way into the England side for the World Cup. And, it's a win-win situation, right? He gets to play, he gets to go to the World Cup. We get a competent midfielder who can really help us along this season. And then again, we look at, the summer, right? So I think we should go for him for sure in January. I think he's our most likely target in January. Now in the summer, I think is where we make our Baleba move. Again, he has had a poor start to the season. His head's been turned, obviously by us. So I think that we go for Baleba in the summer. Again, there are rumors about Liverpool jumping in and trying to hijack that. I mean, where are they getting the money from? Like, that's my question. Where's Liverpool getting this money from? Like, can we investigate that, right? Like, are they pulling a city over here? Because yeah, if they're talking about getting Baleba next summer, like, how, where? Um, anyway, that would be my plan is Gallagher January, Baleba summer. Maybe we got to sell Bruno to finance that, but again, if we can somehow get Gallagher off of current funds in January, we sell Bruno, we get Baleba, and if we could somehow make that Kane deal work, oh. But again, I mean, I know Baleba himself is like 100 something million pounds, so that Bruno money will probably be eaten up by that Baleba deal. But unless, like I said, Wilcox and team can pull some levers, or Marbarata can pull some levers to find another 60, 70 million for Kane, I'd be all in for that one. What else do I have for you? Oh, yes, let's jump ahead to the look ahead. So we've got Brentford on the 27th. That is this weekend. They are currently 17th in the table. Diego Dallo is back in training, so we may see him for that match. Now, I think that this is a good match for Cindy Lamens to start. Um, I know what I said in the video yesterday, right? Where I feel like, um, maybe Binder is training better, right? Obviously, he's been here longer, so he has that. He knows what things are like around the training ground. He knows, he has the leg up, right? But I think if there was ever time to bring in Cindy Lamens, you bring him into this Brentford match and hope he does well. After that, if you got Sunderland, and then you've got an international break. So if he has a stinker in a game or two, there's time for it to, well, it could go two ways, right? Either you kind of forget about it, or that's all you talk about over the international break. Hopefully, it's the former. You forget about it if he has a stinker. But I think that Brentford is the perfect game to bring him into, right? They are not great right now. They're in 17th place. I think, our defense is enough to protect him. Um, you know, I think that they will probably go out of their way to try and protect him a bit more since it would be his first start. So that would be my suggestion to Amram if you're listening, if you're watching. I would start Lemons and just see what he's got, right? I think the fans want to see it. Skanky bought this kind of, unknown exotic car, right? But you're keeping it, under the cover in your garage. It's like we all kind of want to see it. All the neighbors are peeking in, they want to see it, right? So let's have a look at Lemons. Let's see, right? Because I haven't seen much training footage emerge of him. I feel like they're keeping it under wraps. So either he's awful, and we made a big mistake, or uh, he's a Ferrari, and we're just waiting for him to bed in a little bit, right? Um, Anyway, also this weekend we are finally debuting those black shirts. So I'm sure you've seen it, the black with the blue and the yellow, a very different look for United. So we're debuting those this weekend, although it's going to be yellow shorts and yellow socks, which isn't part of the uniform. Usually it's all black. But anyway, I think those jerseys are nice, very nice. I'll probably get one myself. And honestly, that training gear too that you saw the guys working with in the photos from the club is very nice too. I might have to get some of that. I'll be that guy in the gym in the full kit, just like the full training gear, just taking it way too seriously. But no, but it's really some nice stuff. So if you see me one day, rocking the jersey or some of the training gear, you heard it here first. Anyway, so after that match against Brentford on the 27th, we got Sunderland on October 4th. They are 7th in the table. Now they've had an impressive start, so they might be a bit of a tricky match, right? And in fact, on that note, let me know what you think. Get in the comments, let me know what you think, because I think we get 3 points from Brentford, but for Sunderland, that might be tricky. That might be a draw. That might be a draw because they've had an impressive start for a newly promoted side. So let me know what you guys think in the comments on that one. I'm calling, I think, 4 points from the next two games. I think we beat Brentford. I think we draw at Sunderland. Just I hope we get 6. Again, I hope we get 6, but I feel like this is a 4 situation. Let me know what you think in the comments though. And I'll shout you out if you totally get it right. But I'm calling 4 points. I think it's a win at Brentford, and a draw with Sunderland. Um, Very quickly on the women's front. So as you know, the women drew 0-0 with Arsenal. Arsenal Champions League winners, top women's team, right? So the fact that we've drawn with them, and in fact we've had a killer start to the season, I think says a lot. Our next match against for the women is this Sunday against Liverpool. I think we'll smash them up. I think it'll be like a 4-5 nothing game, and that'll put us either top of the table or just about. I know Chelsea's doing their thing. Chelsea women are Chelseaing. They're just unstoppable, but we'll see what happens. Before you go, if you don't mind, if you could hit that like button, if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything. And on that note, so you don't miss anything, right? Segueing here, I still got to work on those. Doing a match preview as I always do for the Brentford match, right? So that will come out the day before. So on the 26th, I'll do I'll put out the match preview. Get in that. Let me know what you think. Let me know your predictions. I'll give my predicted 11, and as always, my keys to victory. So that'll be on the 26th. On the 27th, I'll do a live halftime show as always, and of course, a post-match discussion where I hope we are discussing how we won 3 points on the day. So don't miss that. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and I think that's all I got for you today. So I will see you on the next one. Peace.